So this is my Smackdown review of the first March 2025 edition. And is Smackdown good again? And I'll say yes. Let's start with the most diabolical thing that happened on the show, which was the main event. Because, Cody came to the arena and, the final boss started to be a sugar daddy to him. He said, you have these two personal security guards. They said that, you've got your own locker room. And I was like, Cody had a locker room before also. But when they went there, they had like, rows of columns with wine bottles, shrimp, sushi. And our truth was there. He made a bad shellfish joke and a good joke about, The Rock being the soul man and all. And like Cody's expression when he saw that sushi was like, maybe I should sell my soul to my sugar daddy. But then over the show, it was built up. Cody was confronted by CM Punk backstage also, and he said, "You should take the offer." And for one moment, Cody was like, "What? What did he say?" And Punk was like, "Take that offer, shine it, and stick it up Dwayne's uh, part-time Hollywood candy." Yes, and that is what happened with Cody. He came out in the end with Michael Cole in the ring. Michael Cole actually, explained how Cody selling his soul is much bigger than him being still champion. Like he will not be, forced to do the European tours. He can defend his title whenever he wants at big money pay-per-views like Mania. He doesn't need the bus. He can be at home with his wife and his kid. Like, and he can be the corporate champion. Maybe Dwayne can even put him on the board. So Michael actually brought up a lot of points which many people were like, what does Cody even get by selling his soul? And they sold this well about how much better can Cody's life can actually become if he sells his soul to The Rock. The thing is, then The Rock, then they had like a trash as Ford truck or whatever, like The Rock's version of it, but it was red and it had Cody's logo and it actually looked like pretty trash. I mean, I would have expected something emotional, which it happened at the end of the segment, but maybe they could have avoided this because it really looked goofy. Like, you really think that over the length of the show, what's gonna convince Cody is a stupid looking truck, like as stupid as his neck tattoo. But then, The Rock came on the screen because he went out of his vehicle. He was going to his private jet. The audio was really bad because, it was a pre recorded promo and they had the private jet whirring around in the back. The Rock really does go off on a tangent a lot of times now. He just starts yapping. He just starts rambling and he starts rambling a lot. He was like, give me your soul and everything. The meat in this segment was the actual great thing that happened was he said, I'm going to gift you this also at Elimination Chamber, which it was written on that weight belt, the Mama Rhodes belt. It was written Cody's Soul, and the date which was written was June 11, 2015, the day Dusty Rhodes died. The Rock said, I have talked to your dad whole week, and I was like, The Rock talks to dead people now. And you have also talked to him. We have FaceTimed once. We have to, message each other. He said that Cody and him have done, not him and Dusty. And then he says, the day your dad died, you know, uh, that was one of the saddest days of my life. That it broke my heart. And Cody, at Elimination Chamber, you will accept my offer to sell your soul because I don't want my heart broken again. And that's how we ended the show. And that was pretty diabolical. Cody's acting was really great in this segment, and I really liked it. Michael Cole also was like, don't like like don't try to backtrack, don't try to deflect Cody. And even Drew had a good thing with Cody as well. He said that the fact that you hesitated says a lot about you. Like, a person telling me to sell his soul, like, that's a pretty big thing. In our young days, like, we both were on the bottom of the card, that we would have done anything to be at the top. But the way you hesitated, it shows that even if you sell your soul, like that you will accept the offer. and The Rock will come to know that you have already sold your soul already. So that happened. Even throughout the day, The Miz was kind of like a good, like Karrion Cross is on Raw, a good devil on the shoulder for Cody. He was like, sell your soul to The Rock, man. So I like this. But then, talking about the rest of the show, but the thing is, this promo was really whack. That Rock promo until the end. The end, made it worth it. I just hope whatever happens at Elimination Chamber, this segment is going to go long because we only have 4 matches. We could have had LA Knight and Shinsuke Nakamura as the fifth match too on Elimination Chamber. Maybe we could have had the triple threat match for the number one contendership on Elimination Chamber as well. I don't get 4 matches and one segment like that. I will not pay for to go to that event, especially when one match is a pretty inconsequential Tiffy and Trish versus Candice and Naya, and that's how we started the show. Trish Stratus came out, to a loud pop because she hears Toronto's own, and she was like, she started talking. She was quite emotional. She was like, I want to face the best of the best, the youngsters and everything. She also, like, in the crowd there was somebody, some guy. She said, little girl, your father probably had my poster in his bedroom when back at the time. So what? It's like what, 25 years of Trish Stratus, I think, or 20 years, I don't know. But then she was like, I'm going to partner with the women of WWE, Smackdown, the women's champion Tiffany Stratton, and then Tiffany comes out. Both had the Maple Leafs jersey, and man, Tiffany's thanks from the back, those were hanging, those were popping out. Not gonna lie. Like, Tiffany does, her delivery on the mic does feel forced as a heel because I don't think it comes naturally to her. Because she said a lot of generic face stuff, with Peach, Naya, and Candice, and everything. It feels like she's reading off, like someone said on Twitter, she's reading off prompt cards, and also that she's trying to be a baby face. I don't know. They need to figure out what Tiffany's face character is. Because what they're having right now is they're having like Charlotte being the high class, veteran, rich bitch, and having Tiffany as the one, a baby face who is crawling, fighting against the odds and everything. But it kind of doesn't suit to Tiffany's, Tiffy time and Trishy time character. So they need to figure out what Tiffany's character is, and they need to figure out what kind of a face she's gonna be, character wise and on the mic too. But they were interrupted by Chelsea and Piper. You all have, Chelsea, you have Tiffy and Trish in there, like, regular, like, like in ring gear, and there you have Piper Niven dressed as the fucking Mountie of all people, which was really funny to me. Like they're doing good stuff with the Secret Service thing, but they need to give more meat to that. They need to add more segments. They need to make it a bigger thing. They need to have storylines around it rather than this being just like a 1 minute bit. Like, need to add more substance to it, and they can do that because Chelsea is great in her character work. They started cheering because she's from Canada, but then she said that my life actually started getting better when I left Canada. And she said some sports team name that they lost and she got booed. And then Tiffany wanted to face them tonight, but then she refused. She was like, I have got commitments. But then Tiffy said that you know Nick Aldis, get a referee out here right now, and then they had the match right there. Match was really nothing. In the end, Naya and Candice came out. You know, they attacked Tiffany, so Tiffany won by disqualification. Like, they could have had Meechin or BFAB also show up, maybe further their feud. I don't know. Maybe they're moving away because they have not done anything with the US Championship. Even the Meechin BFAB thing, they have not been on television for some weeks now. So they came out, they started beating them up, and I was like, Tiffany and Trish haven't got really any comeuppance. Like, they have always gotten beaten up in this feud. They should have built this feud with more segments. Like, they should have treated Trish Stratus as a much bigger deal, which they did today. But then they attacked them, but Tiffany and Trish actually got the better hand. Tiffany was going to moonsault Candice, but then Naya pulled Candice out like a kid, like just hanging her by her neck like that. And Candice was super angry, and then they went away. So that match is set for Elimination Chamber. The thing is, you also had Carmelo doing the and Miz doing the Melo is Miz and awesome. And Carmelo said that he doesn't want Miz in his match against Braun Strowman because Nick Aldis announced that a mini tournament is going to happen on today's SmackDown because there has been conflicts about the number one contender situation because LA Knight claims that he's the number one contender. But Shinsuke claims that LA Knight is not. So they had three qualifying matches and a triple threat match, which was LA versus Santos, Carmelo versus Braun Strowman, and and Solo Sikoa versus Andrade. But Solo told Jacob that our family needs a title to bring the glory back to the family, and this is why I want you to face. Because Jacob earlier was like, it was a mistake what happened last week, and here Jacob was like, hmm, and then Solo and Tama also had a little bit of like looking at each other thing. I think eventually Solo and Tama are going to turn on Jacob. Something is brewing there. I think Jacob is going to go solo, or maybe it's going to be a swerve, and Tonga Loa is going to come back, and then Solo and Tonga will be like a duo, and Tama will be on Jacob's side. Let's see what happens. So he gave his spot to Jacob Fatu. We had a Jacob Fatu versus Andrade match, which was a short match. It was like 7 minutes, but it was a short and sweet, a banger like that Hurricane Rana that Andrade did. Like he did a springboard Hurricane Rana, like he springboarded himself outside. Then he got into a Hurricane Rana position on Jacob outside and gave him that Hurricane Rana. And then he also did a pretty good moonsault. And it was like Andrade showed that he can get no reactions on his entrance, but when he's in the ring, he got the crowd going crazy for him. Like people, they were already into Jacob Fatu. Jacob Fatu was spitting in his promo before the match, but man, Andrade was wrestling like this was his last match or something, and this crowd also felt a little bit, different than the usual crowds. Because even when they were popping hard, like the US crowds feel different. Like this felt like, yeah, we are here, like we are popping hard for this, like we care about what's happening, not like we are just supposed to cheer for these guys. Pretty good match ending. Jacob won the match, which is fine. Carmelo and Braun also had a match which was really, I think, good because Solo and Tama came out to distract Braun because they didn't want Braun to win and be in the match. Like what happened to the Jacob and Braun feud? I think that feud has just been dropped out of nowhere. Then they tried to attack him, but Braun no sold them. He attacked Solo and Tama Tonga. Like Tama Tonga jumped on Braun in front of the referee, but Braun caught him. Otherwise, Braun would have won. So Tama would have looked like a fool. But then when he went to the ring, Carmelo, put the chair in Braun's hand when the referee was not looking and just laid down. He did like the Eddie tribute, and he won the match because the referee thought that Braun cheated. Then after the match, Braun gave like a power bomb, power slam to Tama Tonga to get some heat back, and Carmelo got the win, and he is in that. Then you also had LA Knight versus Santos Escobar, which was actually a fine match. I didn't dislike it. I was like, you could have put Jimmy there because he actually has a good win loss record. Maybe they didn't put Jimmy there because they don't want him to take a loss, and maybe they do have plans for him for the future. I mean, Santos also showed up. Like, Santos got a lot in this match. Like, LA Knight won in the end with like a surprise BFT in mid air. But otherwise, most of this match, it was kind of like Santos showing out. And I think it was important for Santos because was, slowly being put into like a managerial position for Los Garzas. So, LA Knight won in the end. You also had a backstage promo, which happened earlier in the day when Street Profits were asking Nick Aldis that they want a tag title shot, and Nick Aldis was like, "I understand you, but And then when just as he was about to say his response, Garzas interrupted him with Escobar. Escobar, with his goofy-looking suit and glasses, asked Street Profits that apologize because we didn't attack you. Street Profits like, we won't apologize, and they were ready to go. But then it was announced Street Profits will face Los Garzas. Los Garzas came out, and Santos still has his theme. It's just that they gave Los Garzas a different, uh, uh, a different weird, bad EDM remix of that theme. I would probably say the SmackDown tag division is on fire because it made sense why they were facing each other. Because Street Profits actually did attack Los Garzas because Pretty Deadly lied to them. And it made sense why Los Garzas would be angry. Even though if you see Los Garzas is a heel team, Street Profits is a heel team too. But not everything is binary. And that's what I like about the SmackDown tag team, which Street Profits came out in their black clothes and all serious looking, and then they just started fighting. And then they were attacked by DIY from the back, and DIY actually looked like they actually care, because otherwise they just get beaten up by people and they run away because they retain the titles. And then Pretty Deadly comes out. Like, this was a fucking brawl. I was pretty hyped up because the moves that they were hitting on each other, everyone, Pretty Deadly got something too, and the crowd was into this segment as well. Motor City Machine Guns got a reaction from the crowd. Like, everyone got a reaction from the crowd. They were hitting each other. Security guards came out, they were still hitting them. People booed when the security guards stopped them. They were saying, let them fight. This brawl went on for a while. I love this. I really laughed out loud when DIY were outside and they were also doing the let them fight chants with the crowd, and this is what we want. Everything makes sense, and I hope next week, whenever they go back to US, people are still invested into this. The thing is, this is why you should complain, because SmackDown can be good. It just, you need to complain about your criticisms online, which are legit criticisms. And this week Triple H was hands down. We actually got a tweet from Triple H about SmackDown. Like, this is what happens when you complain, constructively. Good stuff happens. And this SmackDown, I would say probably a 5 out of 5 for me, out of feeling only. But in a way, I'll give it a 4 out of 5, or a 4. Oh yeah, 4 out of 5 SmackDown. Like, this was great. And then what else happened was, there was a cute moment between Bailey, Naomi, and Bianca backstage too, and they were like, we're gonna fight Liv, Raquel, and Roxanne today, but I want, at the Elimination Chamber, if it comes down to three of us, may the best woman win. And then Bianca went and they like grabbed her braid too, but I don't like Bianca being too happy with Bailey. Like, the whole build towards War Games, like, it had Bianca not trusting Bailey, and now suddenly they are friends. I don't like it. You had the six woman tag match. I would probably say, if this had 5 minutes more, this would have been a really great match. This was still fine, but it would have been a really great match. Roxanne came out. They didn't let her music hit for even like 5 seconds. Then Liv and Raquel came out. The Roxanne character is so easy to book on the main roster because it's a small tiny girl who dresses a little bit gothy, is a little bit bitchy. She calls herself the prodigy. She's a heel. She's overconfident. So it's a pretty basic character to book, and it will eventually get over. And in this match, Roxanne hit the pop rocks and got the pin on Bailey. I think it should have elicited a much bigger reaction from the crowd, but it did, which I was disappointed by. If this happened in NXT or something, it would have, elicited a bigger response. Or maybe if this happened in an Elimination Chamber, or maybe they, build it to a point where people actually care about Rox on the main roster. Maybe it could have, but I think probably Roxanne is gonna work like how Dragon Lee and Braun Breaker work. Like, they're gonna be on main roster and NXT both. So let's see what happened. But after the match, Bliss came out and Bliss hit her with her finisher, which kind of is the new Ludwig Kaiser's finisher also. Like, it was a good segment. I think they could have done a lot more to build the women's elimination chamber like they did with the men's elimination chamber. They don't really care about it. So let's see what happens going forward. Then, you know, uh, you had the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn stuff. Like, Sami Zayn comes out, not to that big of a reaction which I expected, but they still did the wo. He was like in the ring, and Kevin Owens was not in the ring. It was actually very innovative. Like Kevin Owens was in the the Sky, not, or maybe the Sky Dome. I don't know what the arena is called where Royal Rumble is taking place. He was in the ring there, and he said, I'm not there because we want to protect your neck until this Saturday. And he said that when I'm done with you, I'm not gonna take care of your family. I'm gonna watch them suffer, which was pretty diabolical and pretty new to say. And Sammy was like, it doesn't make you look weak if you just admit that you're nervous before your match. Kevin Owens was like, you convince them that you are right, but you're not right. And Sammy was like, yeah, I am worried. Like I am, worried about my match. I'm not worried that about what you're gonna do to me. I'm worried about what I'm gonna do to you. I'm worried about how your mother, your father are going to see me as. I'm worried about how your family are gonna look at me like. And then Kevin Owens was like, I don't really got to say much. I'll just say, see you tomorrow. And it did everything it was supposed to do. I just hope this could have been a Mania feud. Like this could have dragged till Mania. It's still a it's still a good enough feud for like a month build. But Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have been kind of like the main characters that have been around the main event scene for like 2-3 years. Like they have been catalyst in that, be it against the bloodline, be it helping Cody, be it in the Drew McIntyre stuff, and they getting like kind of a 1 month build doesn't sit well with me overall. I do get it if you look at it from only like the last year's perspective, but Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have been like around, been the one of the main pillars of WWE for like 2-3 years. If you look at the scene, I get why they are doing this because for the past almost a year, KO and Randy and Cody have been involved, but it does feel weird because as I said, the two pillars thing for the 3 years happened. But then I'm excited for this match. This match should probably main event Elimination Chamber, like give them something because both Canadians unsanctioned, Randy return, but it won't. I know. Then you had probably the segment of the night where John Cena's video package starts playing, but then it was interrupted mid by Drew McIntyre coming from the crowd, and he was like, stop this," because he actually just starts insulting John Cena. He says that like, what will 2010 John Cena think about the present day John Cena? He would say like he had great insults. Like he said that he would probably say that the bald area around John Cena's hair should get his own get their own bar area code. Then that that he'll probably talk about how John Cena betrayed everyone and went to Hollywood. And he also said that because of people like you, people like Drew McIntyre gets created into monsters, and I'm gonna bury you because you're so politically strong that you can actually bury everything. But I'm gonna bury you this Saturday. And he was going on a tirade, but then he gets interrupted by Damien Priest. Someone said that LA Knight kind of deserves to be in the main event, and I kind of agree. I'm not against Damien being in the main event. I get that. He's an upper mid card guy. He's been a world champion. He's one of Triple H's guys. But why isn't LA Knight also there? Because it's not that Damien is gonna win this, but he's still around these world title pictures. Why can LA Knight not win the title but be around, be in the picture? I hope that happens. Like Damien could go into the US title feud and actually feel a lot fresher than he feels here, and can actually be a bigger star than he is here, because he is kind of like a small fish in a big pond when it comes to like Drew, CM Punk, and everything. But he's kind of like a big fish in a small pond when it comes to the United States Championship scene. So he can actually work there better. And LA Knight, I think, is kind of getting bigger than the US Championship. And not have him win, but have him be in the world title picture will be better. Swapping them both will be better for both of them. Can actually make them feel fresh for the people also. Damien comes out, and maybe Damien is like, Even our truth speaks more truth than you, because Drew was like, I speak the truth. And Damien, insulted him. He says that, you're saying that you deserve better because of the year that you have had. But then let's talk about the year that you have had. You won the world title, but then because of your obsession with CM Punk, you lost that title because I cashed in on your ass. And after that, you have been losing and losing and losing. And and Drew was like, I am not obsessed with Punk. And Damien brings it up. You are sitting like CM Punk on the table. And then they were interrupted by Seth Rollins. And Seth, when was Seth last on SmackDown? I think before WrestleMania. I don't think he has been there for like almost a year. Then Seth comes out, and they actually talk about the Money in the Bank stuff, which Drew and Damien did. And Damien actually said that at Money in the Bank also, you cashed in and you lost. And Seth was like, Drew, you had like the worst cash in history. And we are in the same building in Toronto, in the same building where Money in the Bank happened. We three were involved there. And this is what happens when Triple H is hands down. I don't think Road Dogg could have written this. Like, where SmackDown is taking place, Toronto, and where the arena is, this is the same arena where Money in the Bank happened, and where Seth and Damien faced for the world title, and where Drew McIntyre cashed in his Money in the Bank. There you can bring up their history back, and you can actually build their Elimination Chamber feud also. This is what happens when smart people work harder and actually care about the stuff. Unlike what was happening in the past few weeks, 2 weeks. I actually liked the show where Damien became to qualify in the chamber. That happened. Seth was out there, and Seth said that no one can stop me from winning the chamber and going to win the world title. And if it was not for Drew McIntyre cashing in, maybe I would have beaten your ass and become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. And then he was interrupted by CM Punk. CM Punk, he called Seth Rollins an oven and he was like, Damien, I am cool with you, but if it comes down to me and you, like, I'm going to beat you. And CM Punk actually had good insults there. I may have forgotten some of them. He was like, uh, earlier it was about spirits and souls, but this time I'm going to do this for fun. He also told Seth and Drew, like, you two guys who have had issues with me and all, like, Seth, you say that you feel good. As you look good, you look like an oven mitt and everything. And Seth was like, you're not going to main event WrestleMania. If I'm not gonna win it, you're not gonna win it either. Like, your WrestleMania dream is gonna die. And CM Punk was like, Drew, you're talking about, there are people here talking about, taking souls and all. Drew, you cannot even give your soul because you talked about taking my soul at Hell in a Cell, but I took your soul and crushed it inside Hell in a Cell in October. And Drew had a really great retort. He was like, it's been 6 months. You're owed an injury, and I'll give you that injury. And then Cena's music starts hitting, and everyone just starts going crazy. A black guy was like, ugh. But then it was a great swerve because my TL was like, oh, Cena. And then they were like, oh, fuck off, because it was Logan Paul that came out. And Logan Paul had a pretty bad promo. Like, Logan, Logan. Just be the regular asshole that you're in real life. Don't try to be a typical 101 wrestling book heel, because he said a lot of stuff which I didn't hear over the fuck you Logan chants, and it didn't make sense, or it didn't matter that much. And even CM Punk had said, like you're not gonna do anything at Elimination Chamber, like if you're as boring as today. And then Logan was like, I gave you like a punch on the face and everything. Damien actually had a good retort to Drew. He was like, what's gonna happen at Elimination Chamber is what always happens, is that what you're gonna do best is that you're gonna lose at Elimination Chamber and then you're gonna go crying on social media because everyone had good lines in that segment, but Damien probably had, Arlington, what is a polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas line because everyone had like a one good line in the end. I forgot Seth and Punk lines a little bit, but then Logan was like, "I hit you in the shinner with this," but then Punk was like, I'll show you that." Then he starts running towards him. Then Logan says, like, "Play John's music," and then he suddenly says, "No, play my music," and then Logan's Paul music starts playing, and then that ends the segment. And someone said, SmackDown has been good because of the star power they've had, and I'll say yeah, but also them using the resources that they have in the best way possible too. Probably not with the US midcard title scene, but apart from that, the resources that they had, they used it in the most efficient way. And that's what happened on SmackDown. And I am pretty, I'll probably say I'm excited for some stuff at Elimination Chamber. I am excited for the men's Elimination Chamber match. I'm excited for Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and just that I'm pretty excited. But because apart from that, maybe the Rock and Cody segment, but we kind of know what happens. But I'm excited about what's gonna happen in that. And also the triple threat match LA Knight won. They'll probably bring it up the next week about how LA Knight had to face so many trials and tribulations to get his United States Championship number one contender ship and face Nakamura. But it was some people said it was kind of useless about how LA Knight just won the tournament again. He was earlier than the number one contender too, but I think they will explain it next week. This match I actually didn't like the triple threat match. It was very clunky and botchy in many ways. Like Jacob was supposed to catch Carmelo, but he actually like fell. Even the ending, I thought that Jacob was supposed to get like a 2 count, but LA Knight pulled him earlier and got the surprise spin on Carmelo. I'm kind of like maybe Carmelo could have won this match. Maybe he could have gotten the win over Shinsuke also next week. Maybe we would have done that. It's kind of like the same stuff, but I don't really mind LA becoming the US champion again because it's not going to be for that long. Maybe at Mania he loses to maybe someone like a Jimmy or someone like a Melo. Andrade, I don't know if he's high on the pecking order, but I can see either Jimmy or a Melo taking that title. Or maybe LA just doesn't win next week because I think, as there were reports yesterday, like Alistair Black is reportedly eminently joining WWE. Maybe next week Alistair Black comes out, maybe after LA wins the championship or between the match, and he either costs LA the match and he attacks both Shinsuke and LA after the match, or maybe LA Knight wins and Alistair still attacks him after the match, and maybe we get like an Alistair versus LA for the US title at Mania, and the other guys can be in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner, or maybe you can give them an honorary Andre the Giant Battle Royal trophy, and they can do the Bobby Lashley thing, all 8 of them, which Bobby Lashley did at WrestleMania 39. But yeah, overall, a really good SmackDown. I have already given my ratings for that, and keep criticizing the product constructively, and they'll be forced to do good shows. So, if you like this type of content, like this video, share and subscribe. If you don't, share it with those who do. My social media links, which are my Twitter and Instagram links, are in the description. Go follow me on that. My UPI ID link, which is shabboy@okicici, is in the description also. So donate any amount of money which you can, so that it can help me make YouTube a permanent career option. So that was it for me for right now. I'll be back with the predictions video for Elimination Chamber today and the India vs New Zealand review today also. So be tuned in for that. So thank you. Goodbye. Alvida.